Have you come to destroy me?
I will do what I must.
Then you will die. Strength has returned, but the weakness still. That is why you will always lose. You have failed, Master. Did you truly think that you could defeat me?
Anakin.
Anakin's gone.
I'm sorry. For all of it.
I am not your failure. You didn't kill Anakin. I did. I will destroy you.
Goodbye, Darth.
Obi-Wan!
Is the Anakin Ahsoka encounters in the World Between Worlds a Force ghost or a mental projection? He's not a traditional Force ghost. Those are Jedi who fully transcended, like Luke or the final Anakin, or just a trick of her mind. This Anakin is a unique blend of his raw Force essence and a projection of Ahsoka's own memories, guilt, and love for her master. He's tangible in the World Between Worlds. He fights with her, talks to her, pushes her to confront the pain of his fall to Vader. But he's also deeply tied to Ahsoka's journey. He's the part of her that's been holding on to regret, and the part that needs to accept both the light and dark of who Anakin was. Essentially, he's the Force giving Ahsoka the closure she never got real enough to challenge her, but rooted in her own heart. Not a ghost, not a fantasy, but exactly what she needed to step into her power. Did Anakin's redemption impact Ahsoka's perception of the light side of the Force? It absolutely did. This redemption redefined everything Ahsoka thought she knew about the light side. For years, she struggled with the pain of watching her master become Darth Vader. She'd seen the Jedi Order cling to a rigid idea of purity as the light side's core, only to fail when Anakin needed grace most. But when Anakin sacrificed himself to save Luke, turning his back on Vader and reclaiming his humanity, Ahsoka realized the light isn't about being flawless. It's not about never feeling anger, fear, or loss. It's about choosing goodness despite those darknesses, even when you've fallen deep. Before, she might have bought into the Jedi's black and white view, light and no flaws, dark irredeemable. But Anakin's journey taught her the light side is rooted in redemption, mercy, and growth. It's why she later rejects the Jedi's rigidity. She understands the Force, and being a good person isn't about avoiding darkness, but rising above it. His redemption didn't just heal her grief, it gave her a more human, hopeful vision of what the light side can be. Did Ahsoka's absence at the end of the Clone Wars impact Anakin's fate? It absolutely did, but let's be clear, it wasn't the cause of his fall, but a critical catalyst that made his dark turn more likely. Here's why. By the end of the Clone Wars, Anakin was already unraveling. He was torn between his loyalty to the Jedi, who'd grown distant and distrustful, and his secret love for Padmé. But Ahsoka? She was the one person who saw all of him. His light, his anger, his fear, and still chose to stand by him. She wasn't just his apprentice, she was his moral compass, the only one who'd call him out on his flaws without judging him. When Ahsoka was wrongfully accused and left the Jedi Order, it shattered Anakin. He felt betrayed by the Order, but more than that, he lost the one person who could ground him. Imagine, if she'd been there when Palpatine started whispering lies, when Anakin feared Padmé's death, she would have fought for him. She would have reminded him of his goodness, pushed back against Palpatine's manipulation, and maybe even helped him find a way to save Padmé without turning to the dark side. Without her, Anakin was isolated. The Jedi didn't listen to him, Padmé couldn't fully understand his connection to the Force, and Palpatine was there to fill the void. Could Ahsoka have stopped his fall entirely? Maybe not, his fear of loss was too deep and Palpatine's plan was too elaborate. But her absence removed a vital lifeline. It made it easier for Anakin to believe he had no one left but Palpatine, and that sealed his fate. In short, Ahsoka's absence didn't make Anakin turn to Vader, but it made sure there was no one left to pull him back from the edge. Did Ahsoka's departure foreshadow the Jedi Order's institutional flaws? Without a doubt, her leaving is one of the clearest signs that the Jedi Order system was irreparably broken, long before Anakin's fall or Order 66. Let's break it down. Ahsoka was wrongfully accused of a crime she didn't commit, the bombing of the Jedi Temple. Instead of standing by their own apprentice, the Jedi Council rushed to judgment. They stripped her of her rank, refused to listen to her defense, and treated her like a criminal before she even had a chance to prove her innocence. Why? Because the Order valued its own reputation and rigid rules over justice, loyalty, and the individual. That's the core flaw. The Jedi had become so obsessed with their purity and adherence to dogma that they forgot how to be compassionate. They preached about justice but didn't practice it when one of their own was in trouble. They talked about trust but doubted Ahsoka, Anakin's apprentice, a hero of the Clone Wars, without a second thought. Ahsoka's choice to leave wasn't just about being wronged, it was about realizing the Order couldn't fix itself. She saw that their rules were more important than people, that their pride blinded them to their own mistakes, and that's exactly why the Order fell. They couldn't adapt, couldn't admit fault, and couldn't connect with the very people they were supposed to protect, including Anakin, who later felt the same abandonment when he needed them most. In short, Ahsoka's departure wasn't just a personal tragedy. It was a foreshadowing of the Jedi's inevitable downfall, proof that their institutional flaws had eaten away at their core, making collapse unavoidable. What exactly does Force neutrality, symbolized by the white lightsaber, mean? Let's unpack this, because it's one of the most fascinating ideas in Star Wars lore. First, let's set the stage. Jedi wield blue or green lightsabers, tied to the light side. They reject emotions like anger or fear, clinging to rigid rules about detachment. Sith use red bleached by their dark side rage, embracing hatred and power. But white, it's a total break from that binary, and Force neutrality is the philosophy behind it. At its core, Force neutrality isn't about being neutral. In conflicts, Ahsoka fights evil all the time. It's about rejecting the idea that the Force has to be split into light or dark, and that you have to suppress or indulge emotions to wield it. Think about Ahsoka. She got her white lightsabers by purifying red Sith lightsabers, literally taking darkness and turning it into something balanced. That's a perfect metaphor for her philosophy. Unlike Jedi, who tell you to ignore grief or attachment, look how that failed Anakin. Neutral users accept those emotions. They feel anger, fear, love, but they don't let those feelings control them. They choose kindness and justice because it's right, not because a council tells them to. And, unlike Sith, who feed on negativity, neutrals don't weaponize their emotions. They channel them into strength without losing their humanity. Force neutrality is also about freedom from dogma. The Jedi Order's rules became oppressive, the Sith's ideology destructive. Neutrals like Ahsoka walk their own path. They use the Force to protect others, but they don't answer to any order. They trust their own moral compass over ancient traditions. In short, the white lightsaber symbolizes a Force user who's transcended the light-dark divide. It's about balance, not between good and evil, but between suppressing emotions and being consumed by them. It's proof that you can wield the Force powerfully and stay true to yourself without buying into the rigid systems that broke the Jedi and Sith. That's why it resonates so much. It's the Force as it was always meant to be, free, balanced, and deeply human.